Hey everyone, it's Miranda. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, then hey, for the first time, why don't you subscribe, become the newest member of the Slash squad. Here I review products you won't feel guilty buying and do looks you can actually recreate at home. Today we have yet another budget-friendly makeup tutorial, and this one's really fun. It's just something that kind of popped in my head because last weekend, Adam and I went to go see the new Aladdin, which I was a little bit skeptical about. Aladdin, I was a fan, but it wasn't ever like my favorite Disney movie, but I am a little bit obsessed now with the live action version. I've been listening to the soundtrack all week, which is what made me inspired to create this makeup look. So this makeup look is based mostly on the new live action movie poster and all of the colors in the poster. This is kind of my version of Disney bounding, which if you don't know what that is, it's kind of creating your own Disney costume out of clothes that are already in your closet. This is like creating my own Disney costume out of makeup. It's one of those makeup looks that's not super obvious that it's inspired by a Disney movie, but if you know, you know. But anyway, if you want to know how to recreate this look with all budget-friendly products, just keep watching. I'm starting off with the AOA Studio Perfect Eyeshadow Primer. So for this Aladdin inspired look, I was searching high and low throughout my current collection as well as my PR to find a palette that just had all of the shades that I wanted to use. I didn't really want to be dipping into a bunch of different products, and I found it. It is the BH Cosmetics, it's Ray Ray eyeshadow palette. I was really looking for something that had both vibrant purples and blues as well as a gold we could work with, and this ended up being perfect. So we're gonna use this palette for the entire look. So for my transition shade, I'm going into Cobalt, which is this beautiful bright blue. And with these types of shades to help maintain the vibrancy, I find it to be a lot better of a technique to pat on the color, and then you can go ahead and blend them out to diffuse, but first just build up the shade using patting motions, because we really want this blue to stand out on top of everything. And when I'm creating this look, I'm gonna go ahead and bring this a little bit farther out than I might normally would, just because we're gonna end up cleaning it up with like a makeup wipe in the end, so not too worried about it. Kind of flaring it out a little bit at the corner. Now before I start blending that out too much, I want to add my brow bone highlight. And I'm using a Shine In, which is kind of a darker taupey satin shade. A little bit darker than I would normally use as a brow bone highlight, but it kind of just adds a nice little neutral to this really bright and colorful look. So I'm going to continue blending out Cobalt now and make it a little bit softer toward the top edge. All right, so that's where we want to be before we move on to the purple. So I'm going into Majesty now, perfectly named for kind of the theme of the movie. And I'm placing that in my crease as well as my outer corner, right under that blue. And again, patting motions will help you really get the most out of this color. You know, it's actually really interesting because this palette reminds me a little bit of the James Charles Morphe palette. I did a little bit of a similar look just using the purples and blues when I first got my James Charles palette, and the patting motion was definitely essential to maintaining the vibrancy of the shade, but honestly, this is kind of performing very similarly. I mean, honestly, I think BH Cosmetics could probably put out an exact dupe of that palette if they could do so without getting in trouble, because the quality is very similar, BH Cosmetics to Morphe. Okay, so you can see I've kind of patted the purple into that blue, so we have a little bit of a fade going on right here. And I'm also gonna go ahead and pat it in my outer corner. So because I like a deep outer corner to really add dimension, I'm gonna go in to Cacao just a tiny bit and build that up in my outer corner as well, and then put another thin layer of purple on top of it, and that'll just deepen it up a little bit, create a little bit more shadow. So we still want it to translate as a purple, but the brown underneath just gives it a little bit more depth. Now while I'm here, I'm gonna start blending a little bit of that purple down on my lower lash line. And as you can see from the other side, I kind of did a little bit of a I don't know even what you would call that, a break in the blending. So while I'm blending this, I'm gonna kind of flare it out downward so that when we clean it up, we get a nice sharp effect. And it's okay if it looks a little crazy because like I said, we're gonna be cleaning it up a little bit later. So that's totally fine for now. We'll clean that up. I'm gonna add a little bit more blue to this just to make sure that it doesn't get lost in all the purple. Just kind of touch it up. If you've been watching my tutorials lately, you know that I've been a little bit partial to the Revolution Beauty Conceal and Define Concealer for my cut creases. So we are doing a half cut crease, as you can see from the other side. So we'll probably stop about there. Back into the eyeshadow palette, we are gonna go in with Canary, which is this beautiful matte yellow. And I'm gonna be filling in that entire concealer section with this as a base to the rest of the lid. This is something that I've kind of started to do with cut creases more, is that even when I'm layering on like a shimmer on top, or the shimmer is gonna be what the cut crease is, I like putting a matte down first because it really helps me get up to the edge with the color, as opposed to sometimes when you're working with a shimmer, it'll kind of blur that cut crease line. So using a matte first in a similar color will help you get a little bit cleaner of a look, because then you don't necessarily have to go all the way up to the edge with the shimmer shade. Just a little tip. All right, so to blend the purple and the yellow together, I'm gonna go in to Scarlet, which is, I mean, I guess the name speaks for itself. It's a scarlet. It's kind of a pinky mauve shade. And there are a little bit of those warmer red tones in the movie poster, so I thought this was a perfect way to just add a pop of that, especially for Jafar. So I'm just gonna use that to marry these shades together and add a pop of warmth. Now, if you feel like you lost a little bit of purple while you were layering that on, like I did, just go ahead and bring in some more purple in that outer corner, strengthen it up. And now with a wet brush, I'm gonna be going into Golden Girl, which is the shimmer gold in this palette. And you can use whatever setting spray you have to mist your brush. That'll really help get that gold to be super reflective. And I am filling in the rest of the yellow with Golden Girl. And I'm also gonna be bringing that into my inner corner as well. And I'm bringing that a little bit into my lower lash line as well, just about the inner third, I'd say, to meet that purple. And then you just wanna lightly tap over the amber shade just to give it a good blend. And FYI, this gold, even when wet, will give you a little bit of fallout. So if you wanna do your foundation last, you can. I never do. I just kind of accept my fate. All right, but we're ready for liner. First, tight lining my upper lash line with the Neutrogena Intense Gel Eyeliner. I cannot stop using this. 100% my new favorite tight liner at the drugstore. It goes on so black and it lasts all day. And I have watery eyes as well, so the fact that it can really hold on, very, very impressive. All right, so at this point, it's time to clean up this situation here. So for me personally, when I'm creating a sharp edge for my eyeliner, I do go in with a makeup removal wipe. Some people may prefer to just use concealer, and this is also another reason why it may be smarter to do your foundation afterwards. But I just kind of get really precise with it. I wrap it around my finger like so, and then use the edge of my fingernail to get the product off. So first I'm gonna go in from the corner here and swipe up, looking for a nice sharp edge like that. And now we're gonna do the same thing going downwards from the corner and down. pretty good. Then I'll just kind of go in the middle, grab anything that didn't come off. So that's when you can go ahead and add a little bit of concealer. And that'll help just clean up. And that also helps if you are like me and you did your face makeup before your eyes, just kind of fills that spot in again. And you definitely can do that with foundation as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be concealer. Now for my wing, of course, I'm using my NYX Matte Liquid Liner. Now when creating this wing, I want it to go along that sharp edge that I just created, so just keep that in mind. I am gonna start in the inner corner though. Yay, yay! That's my reaction when I get my eyeliner right and even. I feel like this side's a little heavier on that bottom purple, so I'm literally just taking a clean finger and blending it. My favorite mascara to use before falsies is the CoverGirl Flourish by Lash Blast. My heart is like fluttering with how this makeup look is turning out. You know, sometimes I just have like a vision of what I want a look to come out as, and I'll try it and then it just fails and it just does not live up to what was in my mind and it makes me feel so sad. But today is just one of those days, everything's clicking into place and this is exactly what I had in my head and it feels so good. Okay, for my falsies, I'm using one of the AOA Alexis lashes. These are some of my favorite lashes. This is the 6-pack. They also come individually for $1 on Shop Miss A. Easily my favorite falsies just because they are so affordable and they look awesome. They have so many different styles. Alexis is probably one of my favorites just because they are so flared and prominent. I do have to cut them a little bit, but these are definitely my go-to, and they're very lightweight and flexible, so really good for all eye shapes. The one thing is I'm really sad that literally right after this, I'm gonna be going to the gym and taking this all off. My life. By the way, while this glue is drying on my lash, did anyone else know that it was every moment red letter? Like my entire life, I thought it was every moment gets better in a whole new world. What the heck is a red letter? Every moment red letter? I was singing karaoke and I was like, did they type that wrong? No, I've had it wrong my entire life. Okay. Unbelievable sights, indescribable feelings, soaring, tumbling, freewheeling through an endless diamond sky. A whole new world has been stuck in my head all week. All right, the eyes are done. So happy with how this turned out. I'm geeking out over it. Let's finish the face, shall we? Let's zoom you out. You don't need to be this close anymore. All right, adding contour with the Physicians Formula Bronze Booster Palette in matte, or Sculpting, whatever it's called, it's the matte one. And with this palette, I've actually hit pan on the warmer shade, but I do tend to mix both the cool and warm contour shades just to get something a little more neutral. And I'm using my Pract concealer brush for my contour. It's actually been one of my favorite contour brushes lately because it just kind of fits right in the hollow of the cheek. Also, I wanna say, I was a little bit worried about Will Smith being the genie in Aladdin. Like, that almost deterred me from seeing the movie. And like, don't get me wrong, I like Will Smith, but he just tends to be a little bit over the top in his comedy roles. And I was like, oh, is it gonna be like a little too campy, you know? But he was so good. I feel so dumb for doubting him. He definitely brought something different to the genie. It wasn't just like a redo of Robin Williams. In case that was something you were concerned about, because I've actually heard a lot of people say the same thing, that they were a little worried that Will Smith was just gonna be like a little too crazy with it. It was so good. I always forget like how good of a musician and dancer Will Smith is. Obviously that's like where he came from, but yeah, all the musical numbers, so good. Oh my gosh, just go see it. For my blush, I'm using another AOA product from Shop Miss A. This is the Lumi Radiant Blush in Wine. It's got a little bit of shine to it, or shimmer to it, one of those marbled baked blushes. And I'm highlighting my cheekbones with the Physicians Formula Butter Highlighter in Champagne. And this is one of those kind of moussey, bouncy textures, so you really just kind of have to use your fingers with this. But bam! Definitely gives a nice glow. Now, as I'm bringing my highlight up, I want to make sure I don't go over that purple. Kind of did. Oops. Gosh, I love a good glow. Uh-oh. Brought it a little low. Brought the glow low. I'm gonna add a little bit to the tip of my nose, my Cupid's bow. And I think we're ready for lipstick. And lastly, for the lips, I'm using another Physicians Formula product. Super into their makeup lately, especially for summer. It's got a lot of good for you ingredients for the skin, but their Butter Lip Cream has been awesome for the summer. There's SPF 15. You actually get a lot of color out of these. Super balmy. I really like them. This is the shade Brazilian Nut. It's kind of like a warm, neutral, not so brown, but what I think is a good neutral for this look. All right, let me take my hair down. We'll do the final look reveal. Even though you can see it right now, it's not really a reveal. Okay. Unbelievable sight. All right, everyone, that is my Aladdin inspired makeup look. I love how it turned out. Let me know what you think. And if you recreate it, be sure to tag me on Instagram. Whenever anybody recreates one of my looks from YouTube and tags me on Instagram, then I do repost them to my stories. So definitely give it a try. And now I'm gonna be taking a million pictures before I just take this off and go to the gym. How tragic is that? Anyway, if you like this idea for, you know, Disney themed makeup looks, or in general, just movie themed makeup looks, I kind of had an idea in mind for some of the Marvel movies. Definitely give this video a thumbs up to let me know, and if there's a specific movie like color scheme you'd want to see translated into a makeup look, leave it in the comments. Don't forget to hit subscribe, become the newest member of the Slash Squad. We'd love to have you, and if you've done all those things, then high five, but have you hit the bell icon so you know every time a new video goes live? Engaging with this video in any way makes sure that my face stays on your subscription page. I'll see you in my next one. Bye!